guys? It's Nick and Josh, and welcome to Episode 3 of the Game Report. Kicking off this week in news, The Sims 4 was announced for a 2014 release date. No month specified yet, but it has been announced for Mac and PC users. There's online and offline functionality, and this story came out on Monday. So they basically stressed that there was no, it wasn't just online only, but there was specifically offline, because they had it in quotes and everything. And obviously they're learning their lessons from SimCity, which Max just really screwed the pooch on. And but it really doesn't look like really much different. But what they're saying is that it's more of a central experience where you get to see your Sims develop more, and you kind of have a more personal relationship with the Sims. The Sims 3, though, it just felt a lot more limited than The Sims 2, and I play The Sims 2 a lot more. Maybe because I played that at a younger age, I didn't have as much to do, but I really felt The Sims 2 was stronger than The Sims 3, and overall the Sims games have just kind of gotten more and more weak as they progress for me. So Sims 4 probably won't be picking that up anytime soon next year, but I'll probably always have The Sims 2 installed. Josh, what are your thoughts on about The Sims 4 coming out next year?
I've never really been too big on The Sims. I've played it. It's fine. What I've always wanted was to play Sims Online, because I thought that sounded kind of fun to, have your own Sims family and play with a friend online. However, it's never really been much of the case. So, I mean, they did have online for SimCity, but for starters, SimCity is a different kind of game, and also that online wasn't direct contact with people. You weren't necessarily playing with them, you just kind of getting help from them or helping them. So I suppose it could be a good game. I heard that they're gonna go in a different direction than they did with SimCities, where I don't think you'll have to always be online.
Yeah, it's not an always online DRM.
So yeah, they said that there isn't going to be DRM from what I heard, and so that's a good idea.
Yeah, it's a good recovery from SimCity from earlier this year. Now it's time to move on to the next topic, which was a pretty big controversial topic this week. So EA is going to get the rights to create Star Wars games. Now, when I first heard about this, I was pretty upset because I can't stand EA. Josh hates EA as well. I'm not speaking for Josh. I know this is his opinion as well. But but the cool thing is, this is the cool part. EA has very talented development studios. Talking about DICE, Visceral, and BioWare. Now, BioWare has already done Star Wars work, and I would expect them to take back up the Knights of the Old Republic kind of games. I think that would be a nice change of pace from Mass Effect, because Mass Effect 3 kind of concluded the trilogy. But I did hear that they were working on Mass Effect 4, but I'd like to see another KOTOR game, and I think a lot of other fans would too. Especially after SWTOR, because, the Old Republic, after I paid $60 for that and 2 months, I was pretty livid that it went free to play. But let's talk about some other Star Wars games that could be possibly developed by DICE and Visceral. I'll start with DICE. Battlefront 3, I think we've all seen the gameplay. If you're even a little bit interested in Star Wars Battlefront 3, I'm sure you've looked up the gameplay for it, and we're all wondering why that hadn't come out yet. But this is a really talented development studio behind Battlefield 4 that's coming out this year, and it looks fantastic, especially the graphics. But imagine that kind of scale, and I was talking to you, Josh, about this a couple months ago, so I basically just I called this pretty much, you could say, that what if DICE made a Battlefield game, or I'm sorry, a Star Wars Battlefront 3, and just the same scope as Battlefield, but with Star Wars, giant space battles. It can be space battles, I don't care. It can be on the freaking forest planet of Endor with the speeders. Just imagine that kind of scale and that kind of graphical powerhouseness that comes with the Battlefield series, and translate that over to Star Wars. You would have one of the best Star Wars games ever created. Now that being said, I don't want to get my expectations too high, because DICE might not be making Battlefront 3, but that's what I'm assuming. But that would be fantastic. I'd be so happy for it. Now, another thing would be Republic Commando, because Josh and I both really enjoyed that game. I think, Josh, you played that game on Xbox?
Yeah.
Yeah, same. And I don't think it had a co-op mode, and that's what it was really missing. So I think if they could expand on that and make another Republic Commando game, that'd be really cool. Now let's talk about Visceral's project. Star Wars 1313 was teased last year at last year's E3, and 1313 is like Uncharted Star Wars. It almost looked like you play as a young bounty hunter. It's rated M for mature. It's actually Star Wars' first rated M for mature game that's like LucasArts has officially ever done. But now it's going over to EA, so I guess I guess you can't really say that it's made by LucasArts anymore. But Visceral they have some pretty amazing games under their belt. They have the whole Dead Space series, which has some spectacles that still blow me away even today. Some of the Dead Space 3 set pieces were just mind-blowing how amazing they were. And I can see, because I can see 1313 kind of transitioning into that, because 1313 had some really cool moments. Like he runs off this platform and jumps onto a ship as it's crashing, and it just kind of gave me that Uncharted or Dead Space kind of vibe. I could see that shifting very well over to Visceral's hands. Josh, what are your opinions on the transition to EA?
Well, yeah, like you said, I don't really like how EA kind of dicks.
Yeah, they are.
But they do have it's not like that they come out with bad games per se. In some cases, I suppose that if they gave the games a little bit more time to develop, I mean, that's kind of typical where you got a huge a huge company that kind of organizes the way a lot of other game designers and their time, their budget. Sometimes you can't always get what the designers wanted to provide because they get rushed. However, still they still have Visceral and DICE. So I mean, I'm sure that they can probably make some pretty good games. I just don't like EA or the DRM. I feel like, being the dick that EA is, DICE isn't gonna do anything on Battlefront.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see, because they haven't really been listening to their consumers too much lately. So
it's all about the money for them.
Yeah.
All right. Now this topic's gonna be a little bit shorter because I haven't been involved in World of Warcraft for a while. Josh doesn't like it at all.
Nope.
I'm still not too fond of it, but World of Warcraft actually lost 1.3 million subscribers this month, but they still have 8 million people subscribed, which is pretty impressive. I don't really see World of Warcraft going away anytime soon, so they could keep on losing 1.3 million subscribers every year, and for the next couple of years, then it'd still be fine. And people are comparing it to new MMOs, and I mean, let's be honest, it's almost a 10-year-old game at this point. So you have to appreciate what this is an achievement here, because games today, you play them for a month, maybe two, if you really enjoy them, and then you put them down. Let's say Borderlands. Josh and I got bored out of that in a month, maybe 3 weeks, and we really expected to play that for a while. But World of Warcraft still has people that started day one and they keep playing until now. That's dedication, and that is just an impressive achievement overall, just to have that many players paying $15 a month. It's also a cash cow. Now, I'm not saying that World of Warcraft is a terrible game, because it's not. A lot of people still enjoy it, and it has a nice amount of polish to it, because it's been around for 8.5 years. But they could keep on making it. I don't really think 1.3 million subscribers really affects them, because they're still going to be going strong. Josh, you got any thoughts, or would you like to skip over to the next topic?
Well, just to make it clear, I don't necessarily think the game is terrible. I just had a bad experience with it because I came into it late, and all my friends were like, hey, you should totally get this game so we can play. But of course, they already had people that were close to the level of like 20 and 30. So me being really low level, I had like no one to play with. I had people that would come and like, oh, I'll make a new character with you, but then they just want to go back and work on their higher level character. So I was kind of left on my own, and I just thought, do I really want to spend money each month to play this game with nobody that I know?
Yeah, it's MMO is definitely fun by yourself. All right, now it's time to move over to topic number 4 of this week. Wolfenstein: The New Order has been officially announced. Now, Bethesda did the same thing that they did with The Evil Within and showed like a couple quick like clips that really meant nothing. They just like teased something, but you really had no idea what it was. So it was like some cogs spinning around and everything, and that really did actually relate to the trailer because it showed a robot being put together. And towards the end, I started playing All Along the Watchtower by Jimi Hendrix. And you can see like BJ Blazkowicz like standing in front of him and just like being the ultimate badass. But Bethesda has confirmed that it's been announced, and it's also going to be coming out on next-gen consoles. GameSpot recently did like they went to Bethesda Studios and checked it out, and like they said all the guns kind of felt pretty heavy and powerful and everything. And when I think of heavy, I think of Killzone immediately because you're so bulky in that game, and the maneuverability is like a lot more limited. But I enjoyed the last Wolfenstein game. I thought it was a lot of fun. It came out I think in 2008, 2009. Yeah, sometime around there. But it was a lot of fun. It was made by the same guys who made Singularity, Raven Software, I believe. And they did a pretty good job. It was fun. I mean, it wasn't like anything like spectacular, but it was fun. And I'm interested to see where they go with this next, especially if there's a giant Hitler Nazi mech. That'd be really cool. I'd probably get it just for that. Josh, you got any thoughts on the new Wolfenstein game?
I've never really played Wolfenstein before. I probably should.
Yeah.
But yeah, so as of now, I don't really have too much of an opinion. I've heard good things about it, so.
Yeah, it's definitely a very creative take on the World War II experience for sure. All right, another game that you haven't really done too much research on is Shadows of the Eternal, which was announced also this week. We got a lot of game announcements this week for sure. But it's a spiritual successor to one of my personal favorite survival horror games, Eternal Darkness. Now, Eternal Darkness was released on the Xbox, GameCube, and PS2, and it was, maybe it was just the GameCube. It might have just been the GameCube because it was published by Nintendo. But it was the first game published by Nintendo with an M rating, and it was kind of like, it kind of came up with the sanity effects that were shown later in Amnesia: The Dark Descent. But I haven't really seen too much of Shadows of the Eternal, so I'm not going to talk too much about that, but I'm going to talk about why I'm excited for it because of my prior experiences with Eternal Darkness. Now, when I first got Eternal Darkness, about 2 hours in, I was about, 9 or 10, and just popped it in, got it, and my dad got it for me because he didn't really know that it was the game that it actually was. I just thought it sounded cool. It sounded like a kind of fantasy adventure game. And basically, when my sanity meter reached all the way to the bottom, my screen had that controller disconnected symbol come up, and at the time I was using a wireless controller, so I didn't really think too much of it. Maybe the signal kind of got messed up or something. I was like, oh no, my controller broke or something. So I went over the controller thing, and the light was still on, signaling that the controller was still plugged in. I was really confused. I unplugged the controller and then plugged it back in, see if it would work. And this, when I looked up at the screen, just my character just fucking screamed at the top of its lungs. And I had the TV kind of turned up pretty high because it's a survival horror game and you want to have the best experience possible. And I don't ever think I've been so goddamn scared by a game before. That the game literally, it really sticks with you after you stop playing it. So maybe a week after, I'm still remembering all this great stuff. I don't want to spoil anything for you guys because I definitely recommend, if you haven't played it, definitely go play it. It still kind of holds up to this day. I played it a couple months ago, but it's definitely experience you kind of need to have an open mindset for. It's definitely a different kind of take on survival horror, but it's definitely one of the best in my opinion. But Shadows of the Eternals, I haven't seen too much of it. I saw like a 9-minute gameplay preview on IGN, and it looked pretty promising. Definitely awesome environments like Eternal Darkness have. But yeah, I don't really have much to say other than I'm excited for it. Like I said, I have to see more of it to be able to talk about it more. But Josh, what do you think about it? Did you watch the gameplay footage at all, or did you hear about the announcement?
I did not. I don't really know anything about the game, so.
All right. Well, that's okay. At least I had a lot to say about it. But anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in, and come check us out next week for more awesome gaming news. We're gonna be doing a live stream this weekend, probably on either not Guild Wars. I'm sorry, freaking Dota, so something like that. And yeah, I'll see you guys next weekend. And Josh, any closing statements for you?